Welcome to the deep dive. So today, we're going to dive into something you sent to us, and it's called the Liat Show. It's kind of hard to explain exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's storytelling, and it's Israeli culture, and it's kind of a mix of everything.
Yeah, it's a very interesting project that you shared with us. It really does defy categorization.
Yeah.
Liat herself calls it a story unfolding across timelines. And it's kind of like a podcast, but it's also kind of like an online journal.
Yeah.
It's also a deep dive into Israeli culture, all kind of guided by this woman, Liat Portal.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like your average podcast.
No.
And you were saying that she's writing and releasing this content in real time, so it's almost like we're watching this live performance as it unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. And what's even more unique is she emphasizes that the audience is part of the story.
Okay.
So it's interactive in a way that most creative projects aren't.
So it's a story, but it's also a conversation that's pretty cool.
Right.
And she mentions being the daughter of the greatest storyteller of all time. Like, no pressure there?
Talk about setting a high bar for yourself, right?
Yeah.
But think about the environment she's in. She's living in San Francisco, the heart of innovation, the tech world.
That's true. It's like she's got this inherited storytelling gift, but she's combining it with this Silicon Valley approach.
Right.
And it's working. She's already reaching listeners in 84 countries and 33 U.S. states.
That's pretty impressive. What is it about her stories that resonate with such a diverse audience?
Yeah, and particularly here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Well, she seems to tap into some pretty universal experiences. Like, for example,
Yeah.
the rising cost of food.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one episode where she talks about how the rising price of eggs is making shakshuka, this traditional Israeli dish, much more expensive to make.
That's a great example of how she kind of blends the personal with something that's global.
Right.
And for listeners who might not know, shakshuka is this delicious dish.
Yeah, what is that?
It's eggs poached in this spicy tomato sauce.
Sick.
It's a staple of Israeli cuisine.
Okay, so I'm learning something new already.
Right.
And it's that kind of thing, those little cultural insights woven into personal stories that probably make her so relatable, even to people who maybe aren't familiar with Israeli culture.
Absolutely. And it's not just food.
Yeah.
She tackles topics like the education system. She even compares her show to The Late Show, but, during the daytime.
Right.
And she suggests that the Liat Show could be a new kind of compulsory education, almost like a school of the future.
It's a pretty bold statement.
No.
I mean, would someone like George Harrison, who, famously championed Monty Python,
Right.
would he have seen something special in this too?
Well, it's an intriguing parallel because Harrison's support for Monty Python, especially with the movie Life of Brian, he showed a real willingness to back unconventional projects that had huge potential.
Absolutely. And Liat is definitely unconventional. I'm looking at her call to action here, and she's really pushing for people to subscribe to her YouTube channel
Okay.
to reach 1,000 subscribers and get nominated for this Rising Star Award.
Yeah, that 1,000 subscriber mark is important for a few reasons.
Right.
First, it gives her a chance at that award, which could boost her visibility significantly.
Right. And I think, too, on YouTube, once you hit those subscriber milestones,
Yeah,
it helps with getting discovered by the algorithm
right.
and potentially reaching a much wider audience.
It's a crucial step for any creator that's trying to build an audience online.
Yeah.
And she's not just relying on YouTube.
Yeah.
She also emphasizes how important Substack is to this project.
Yeah.
And she calls for founding and annual members.
Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar,
Yes.
Substack is a platform that allows writers and creators to connect directly with their audience and offer subscriptions for exclusive content.
It's become a really popular way for independent creators to build a community and earn income from their work.
Okay.
And it gives them more creative freedom.
So by becoming a founding or annual member on Substack,
Yeah.
you're not just supporting the Liat Show financially, but you're also helping Liat sustain her creative vision and reach her full potential.
It's like you're investing in the future of this unique project.
Yeah.
And it ties into something you mentioned earlier about who could champion her cause like George Harrison did for Monty Python.
You're thinking someone with that same kind of influence and willingness to back a visionary.
Exactly. Maybe figures like Paul McCartney or Ringo Starr.
Wow.
They've both shown a commitment to supporting creative projects over the years.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Who knows, maybe someone listening right now knows them or has a connection.
Maybe.
It's worth putting it out there.
It's worth a shot.
Now, speaking of audience, we know people in 84 countries and 33 U.S. states are already tuning in to the Liat Show. What do you think is the biggest draw for listeners, and especially here in the U.S.?
Well, we've touched on a few things already. Her ability to connect personal experiences with larger issues, her insights into Israeli culture, her engaging storytelling style,
Yeah.
and let's not forget her use of humor. No. She doesn't take herself too seriously, which makes the content even more enjoyable.
Right. She's clearly intelligent and insightful.
Yeah.
But she also doesn't shy away from being funny and relatable.
It's a winning combination.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder what other unexpected connections and insights might she uncover as the Liat Show continues to unfold.
Yeah, it really is a breath of fresh air. To hear someone tackle these kind of serious topics with both intelligence and humor.
Yeah.
Makes you think about how her upbringing might have influenced her approach.
You're picking up on something interesting there. She talks about how her father was an architect.
Okay.
And how that instilled in her this love of structure and design.
So maybe that's where she gets her ability to weave together these complex narratives and connect seemingly unrelated ideas.
It's like she's building a conceptual framework, like a blueprint for understanding the world through her stories.
Yeah.
And she's using, her location, that Silicon Valley mindset, to share it in a way that's both innovative and engaging.
Right. And she's not afraid to experiment with new technology either.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned Notebook LM earlier, this AI tool that helps her organize information and connect ideas.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how creators are leveraging AI to enhance their creative process.
Yeah.
For someone like Liat, who's drawing from so many different sources and weaving together these complex narratives, a tool like Notebook LM can be incredibly valuable.
Like having a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly.
Helping her sift through mountains of information and pull out the most relevant insights.
It allows her to focus on what she does best, which is crafting these compelling stories and connecting with her audience.
Okay, so speaking of connecting, let's dive into some of the specific themes that she explores.
Okay.
I mean, we've touched on the rising cost of food,
right,
the education system, but what else kind of stands out to you?
Well, one theme that runs through a lot of her work is this idea of trust.
Okay.
Especially in the digital age. She even draws parallels between zero trust architecture and cybersecurity and the challenges of building trust in personal relationships.
That's really interesting. I wouldn't have thought to link those two things together.
Right.
It speaks to her ability to think across disciplines.
Yeah.
And find those unexpected links between seemingly unrelated topics.
Exactly. She's constantly pushing the boundaries of our thinking, encouraging us to see the world through a different lens.
And let's not forget her exploration of Israeli culture.
Right.
She weaves in elements of music and food art history.
Yeah.
Giving listeners a taste of what it's like to experience that culture firsthand.
It's not just about, facts and figures.
Right.
It's about hearing the richness of that culture through her stories.
Yeah.
She even introduces us to some iconic Israeli figures like Ofra Haza,
Okay.
a singer known for blending traditional Yemenite Jewish music with contemporary pop.
It's like she's creating this sonic tapestry, weaving together these different threads of music and culture.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder how much of her personal story, her family history, can interwoven into these explorations of Israeli culture.
That's a great question. We know she's deeply connected to her heritage. She refers to herself as the daughter of the greatest storyteller of all time.
Right.
So clearly storytelling is in her blood.
Yeah.
And her explorations of Israeli culture are likely intertwined with her own family's story.
It adds another layer of depth and meaning to her work.
Yeah.
It makes me even more curious to explore the Liat Show and see what other treasures she uncovers.
Me too. And I think that curiosity is exactly what she's aiming to spark in her listeners.
It's that sense of wonder, that desire to learn and connect that makes her work so compelling.
And it's what makes her call to action so powerful.
Yeah.
When she asks people to subscribe to her YouTube channel to become members on Substack, it's not just about boosting numbers. It's about building a community, a group of people who are passionate about learning, exploring, and challenging themselves to see the world in new ways.
Exactly. It's about joining her on this journey of discovery, becoming part of the unfolding story.
And speaking of journeys, she has a really unique way of structuring her content.
Oh, yeah. How so?
She releases episodes in sets, focusing on specific topics.
Hey.
But she also encourages listeners to experience the entire newsletter from the beginning.
So it's like she's saying you can choose your own adventure.
Right.
You can either dive deep into a particular topic,
Yeah.
or you can follow the evolution of her thoughts and ideas over time.
It's a fascinating way to experience her work.
And it speaks to her understanding of how people consume content online.
Right.
She's giving her audience the flexibility to engage with her work in a way that best suits their interests and preferences.
Exactly. And it's another example of her innovative approach, her willingness to break with convention and create something truly unique.
And she's making it clear that she's not afraid to put in the work.
Yeah.
She mentions writing, over weekends and evenings, constantly refining her craft and pushing her creative boundaries.
That dedication is inspiring, and it's something that resonates with listeners.
Absolutely. People can sense her passion, her genuine desire to connect and share her unique perspective with the world.
It's that authenticity that sets her apart. She's not trying to fit into any mold or follow any trends. She's simply being herself, and that's what makes her work so refreshing and engaging.
And it's that authenticity that's attracting listeners from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned earlier, people in 84 countries and 33 U.S. states are tuning into The Liat Show.
That's incredible. It speaks to the universal appeal of her stories, her ability to connect with people from all walks of life.
So what is it about her work that transcends cultural boundaries and resonates with such a diverse audience?
Well, I think it's her ability to tap into those shared human experiences, those fundamental questions we all grapple with, regardless of where we come from or what our background is.
Right. She's talking about things like the cost of living, the challenges of education, the complexities of relationships, the search for meaning and purpose. These are themes that resonate with people everywhere.
Exactly, and she's doing it in a way that's both thought-provoking and entertaining.
Yeah.
Blending personal anecdotes, cultural insights, and philosophical reflections into this tapestry that's both rich and engaging.
Yeah, it's amazing how she manages to weave together all these different elements, personal stories and cultural insights and global issues.
Yeah.
It makes it feel so seamless.
And it's remarkable that she does it all with a clear sense of purpose. It's not just about entertaining, it's about sparking conversations and challenging perspectives and making us think differently about the world around us.
Right. It's like she's saying, let's explore these ideas together. Let's question our assumptions, and let's see where this conversation takes us.
And that's what makes her work so engaging. It's not a one-way lecture. It's an invitation to participate in a dialogue and to share your own thoughts and experiences and to become part of a larger community of curious minds.
And that community is growing every day. We talked earlier about those impressive numbers, listeners in 84 countries and 33 U.S. states.
Yeah.
It really speaks to her ability to connect with people from all walks of life.
It's a testament to the power of authentic storytelling. People can sense that she's being genuine, that she's sharing her true self with the world, and that resonates deeply with listeners.
And it's not just about her personal experiences, it's also about how she elevates the voices and stories of others. We mentioned Ofra Haza, but she also features other fascinating individuals who embody the spirit of Israeli culture.
Right. It's like she's creating this platform for cultural exchange, introducing her audience to a world they might not otherwise encounter, and she does it in a way that feels both informative and personal, like you're getting a glimpse into a friend's life.
Right, and it's that personal touch, that sense of warmth and connection that makes her work so appealing. It's not just about consuming information, it's about feeling a sense of shared experience of belonging to something larger than yourself.
Oh, and that's something we all crave, especially in today's world, where it's so easy to feel isolated and disconnected. The Liat Show offers a kind of antidote to that. It's a space where people can come together and share their stories and find common ground.
And she's very intentional about creating that space. We
Wow.
talked about how she structures her content, releasing episodes in sets, encouraging listeners to experience the entire newsletter from the beginning. It's all designed to foster that sense of community and continuity.
Yeah, it's like she's building a virtual home, a place where people can gather and connect and engage in meaningful conversations. And she's made it clear that she needs the support of her audience to keep that home alive and thriving.
And that's why her call to action is so important. She's asking people to subscribe to her YouTube channel, to become members on Substack, to engage with her content on social media. Every bit of support helps to sustain her creative vision and ensure that she can continue to share her unique perspective with the world.
And it's not just about financial support. It's also about spreading the word, sharing her work with friends and family, leaving reviews, and helping her reach a wider audience.
Because ultimately, The Liat Show is a gift. It's a gift of storytelling. It's a gift of connection. It's a gift of inspiration. And it's a gift that deserves to be shared.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in a world that often feels divided and overwhelming, There are still people out there who are working to build bridges and spark conversations and create something truly meaningful.
And Liat Portal is one of those people. Her work is a testament to the power of authenticity and the beauty of cultural exchange and the importance of finding connection in an increasingly disconnected world.
So, for our listeners who haven't yet experienced the Liat Show, we encourage you to take the plunge. You might be surprised by what you discover, and you might even find yourself becoming part of something truly special.
And for those of you who are already fans, keep spreading the word. Liat's story is one that deserves to be heard, and her vision is one that has the potential to make a real difference in the world.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this exploration of the Liat Show has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore new ideas, connect with different cultures, and maybe even tell your own story.